to the Nerdentials podcast, starring your hosts, Joe Tweedy, Matthew Johnson, Nick Thomas, and Lynn Dudgeon. Welcome to Nerdentials, your weekly dose of the nerdy essentials covering film, TV, video games, and comic books. I'm your host, Joe Tweeton, and co-hosting alongside me this evening is, and I'm looking from left to right on the screen, the Lynn Dudgeon.
Heyo.
And
back again,
the Nick Thomas.
Nerds.
And Lynn, your statement would come off as nothing out of the ordinary. However, I think it pertinent to at least let our audience know that if they do feel like this is not as original as intended, it's because we've been here before. And you you just pointed that out, Lynn. You're like, I'm back, but not like we've been back from the week before. More like back from the day before.
Like wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff. We'd start over from yesterday.
So if it sounds rehearsed, it's not. It's just that we're doing this again for your benefit.
Well, we're doing it for the spirit of the show. For the spirit of the nerds. As Lynn puts it, hitting it twice. Double tapping this information. Because, guys, right as we were wrapping up the final topic for this episode, my computer decided to freeze. And in that moment, we all gasped as we realized that we had no alternative backups. And the end recording button had not been hit yet. So, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, nerds of the jury, we're going in for a redo.
Damn that rap music.
We lost an hour and a half.
For a redo.
But we won't dwell on that for long. We will move forward. We will
persevere.
A shout out to Matthew Johnson. Unfortunately, we had the whole crew here in the first recording, and he gives us his blessing. We can move forward without him, as saddened as we are, but we do want to get back to that weekly release, guys. We want to deliver you guys the weekly Nerdentials, and to do that, sometimes technical difficulties require sacrifice, and sadly, we are sacrificing the soulless ginger. I guess we're not losing too much there, right? Oh, just kidding, Matthew. We love you. We love you. Guys, hit him up on his Twitter or Facebook or show him some love, okay? But that being said, guys...
And not the sticky kind.
Show him emotional support.
Or, yes, the sticky kind.
I mean, there could be some treats involved.
Oh, God.
There could be sugar in those treats.
Just don't clean up afterwards.
Oh, God.
Well, I mean, if you have kids, I guess, what's the difference, right? I mean, are you really cleaning anything at that point? Anyway, tangenting aside, guys, let's jump into our variety show. Well, while Lynn fights off adversity towards one kitten, we shall jump into the topics of movie matters.
Meow. You said kitten. I had to.
And I'll leave the wobbles into the interim as we come back. Oh, shoot. There's the kitten on screen right now. Guys, welcome to Movie Matters. We have a singular topic of news, just a little thing that we like to call the streaming Netflixy thing, where I don't know where I'm going with that, Jim. But we're gonna just mention a couple new things that are noteworthy, and then we'll jump into our big review for the week. Nicholas, oh, you're all full of the cursing right now. What's going on?
You said one topic, and I got all excited. I thought we were going to finally talk about Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
We can't
Matt,
purely because
Matt's not here.
yes, you guys know the drill. We could have done it last night when all four of us were here and ready, but we didn't.
we
And
could
actually,
have done a deep dive on it.
and actually, it's good that we didn't. You know why? Because we lost the file anyway. So it would have been a lost cause had we tried.
Yeah, there's two topics we can't talk about unless Matt's here. Hello Kitty Island Adventure and My Little Pony, because he's a major brony.
Major, but you didn't hear it from us. All right, guys. Well, in current news, might be old news for all you folks there that are on the up and up. However, we've got a couple things added to Netflix that we're all kind of personally excited about. I'd like to mention...
Hells to the yeah.
Hells to the yeah. We've got Ralph Breaks the Internet, a.k.a. Wreck-It Ralph 2. And we've got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Oh, and on a little happy side note, a little bit of sci-fi nostalgia, Lynn, what else dropped?
Yeah, Fifth Element, man. I already watched it, what, 3 times today, twice yesterday.
Nice.
Gotta
5
get it
times.
in before
Hey,
it's gone.
Gotta get that.
I like that. Fifth Element 5 times. Not intended, right? You didn't plan that out.
Nah.
But on a quick side note, I don't think we've actually reviewed them personally, and I don't want to like dive in deep on them. But I personally just want to say, have not seen Wreck-It Ralph 2. However, Spider-Verse is deeply cherished in my mindset and kind of a new favorite for the kids, I believe. Would you say so, guys?
I would have to 100% agree. And a new favorite for me.
I'd say if we had it on VHS, we probably would have worn out like a good 16 or 17 copies by now.
Thank God for streaming.
And the new Benedict Cumberbatch, The Grinch, also hit Netflix.
Yep.
Forgot about that one.
Oh, The Grinch. That's right.
Yeah.
Someone had asked me what the last movie I went to with my kids. I think my mother asked, and I thought it'd been a while, but I realized we actually went and saw that in theaters, the new Grinch.
Nice.
We actually went and saw that. And it's got some different things to it, but I like it. I liked it. I love the original. There's a small little pocket of fondness in my back pocket for the Jim Carrey version. Not the CG Christmas Carol Jim Carrey, but the the live action Grinch with Jim Carrey. But the new one's not bad. The new one's got a few twists that are different, but it's good. Yeah,
It's worth it. It's at least once. I will say at least once.
You're worth it.
I would agree with that. And being that it's on Netflix, I mean, what are you really risking by hitting that play button, right? Let's get to the Toy Story review, and then once we wrap that up, we'll end the first segment of recording.
Well, in your segment.
Oh, easy, boy, easy.
You're a towel.
You're a towel.
You're full of cotton. Anyway.
You're super absorbent, and I greatly appreciate you.
Well, guys, let's jump into that being said, Lynn. Let's jump into our main topic for Movie Matters this week. Guys, we've got a spoiler-free review ahead of you regarding the latest Pixar release, Toy Story 4. Just came out this last week. I don't think Nick has seen it. But me and the Lynn West, Lynn, have taken our children and gone and seen said flick. I'll give you my overall feelings and a 1 through 10 rating on this film. So, right off the bat, to give you context, with my feelings on the franchise as a whole. The first one, original, very original, 1995, first of its kind. Rock solid, critically acclaimed, and the parents and children love it dearly. Rock solid fist from Lynn. He agrees. So, having said that, I hold that very high in regards to its overall story. Granted, CG is dated, it being 95, but it still looks good for its time. Um, I was not a huge fan of the Jesse Bullseye storyline with Woody finding his eclectic collection of friends in the Toy Story 2. It's still
Stinky Pete.
yeah, it's still good. It's still a good toy. It's still a good Pixar film, but it doesn't stack up to the original, and it definitely, for me, doesn't stack up to the third one. What I felt, and I think Lynn agrees, it was a nice little bow tie to what we felt was the Toy Story trilogy, essentially. Um, a lot of nice emotional tear-jerking moments. A beautiful fulfillment of kind of their toys' journey, passing on into the future from their very first and only child they've ever been there for, moving on into their future. So, having said all that, number four had a lot to live up to, and to be honest, it wasn't a movie I was hoping for after the third one ended, and we all were told, and it sounded like they had no intentions of doing any more. But bigwig Disney saw how well the third one did, so it was kind of almost inevitable that they were going to maybe push for another one at some point, and they finally did, and we got something. And for me, I think Pixar really took it to heart as an opportunity to wrap up a lot of characters as far as like storylines and ideas. And again, I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm going to be mostly vague and just give you guys my overall thoughts. The animation is on par with 2019. It's very excellent detail. For me, the story was kind of a bittersweet one. The writers and producers came out and have said, even if you haven't seen the film yet, they said this is definitely a Woody's journey. And in my opinion, I feel like it is Woody's swan song, if you will, out of the franchise. Um, and previously, I had joked that I'm not saying anyone dies here, like Logan's swan song film with the Wolverine and all that. So that's not where I'm going with this, but it definitely wraps up his purpose, and there is a bittersweetness to the end of this movie. And I think in Pixar Disney fashion, they did a good job of yanking my heartstrings just enough, and then still kind of leaving me with a smile on my face. And I truly don't really feel like they left anything really open for any additional chapters. And I know, again, we've heard this before, but the writers and producers have said they don't have any intentions of making a Toy Story 5 at this point. And the way they wrote it, it kind of feels like, yeah, that this is like a nice final chapter. It's an oddball number, being 4. It's not a traditional 3-act trilogy in that sense, but it does wrap up a few things. And in my concluding opinion, I feel like with the Disney Plus service, if they want to do more, there's 2 Toy Story shorts, Toy Story of Terror and that Christmassy one. I forget what that one's called. The time that Time Forgotten or something like that. Those are really well done. They're only 20 minutes apiece, so I feel like Disney could definitely do a series in the future if they wanted to. Total rating though on this one for me, I believe I gave it a 9 out of 10 for my overall enjoyment and surprise enjoyment for this chapter, and I put it up there next to 1 and 3. Like, as far as I love number 1, number 3 was a nice close second, and upon truly reflecting on this, Lynn, I think I bring this into third place next to 1 and 3 for me. So I'll pass it off to you, and I want to get your thoughts on this.
All right. So, following what I said last night, I want to stay true to that, and it is I enjoyed the aesthetics of the movie. I enjoyed the few elements that were unexpected that were added into the movie. I do still feel like the heartstring tuggers were a bit predictable. I know last night I said they felt forced, but it just I really meant more predictable. But it, as far as the Toy Story franchise goes, it added to it and tied up a couple loose ends that, from the first one you're waiting to see what had happened. So in the long short of it, I'm giving it a 7.5 or a 7 out of 10. It's not.
Yeah, Lynn, I know. This is a retread for us, but give me your 4-point breakdown, because I think this is a little fascinating. Like the graphic, the storytelling. Like, why don't you reiterate that a little bit?
Okay. So what I ended up iterating into last night was there was a couple elements that were added in. If you watched the trailer for the movie, they put in ventriloquist dummies, okay, in a certain scene in the movie, a few scenes in the movie, and they kind of add a horror element to it that, between all three of my boys, each one had a different reaction to it. And I feel like for the young audience, it's something that would definitely be slightly frightening. But, coming from a Goosebumps history, I found it amusing, and it was great.
I did want to point out that my 8-year-old daughter, who's a little sensitive to things that are mildly frightening, was actually mildly horrified at these dummies.
Fair enough.
Just putting that out there. Go on.
Yeah. And then there were 2 other characters who were added in that I for sure loved their addition to the Toy Story universe, I guess.
Was this the Key and Peele duo?
Yeah.
Bunny and what was it? Duck and Bunny.
Oh, I thought you were more talking about the Toy Story riding along the bandwagon of the year of Keanu Reeves.
Oh no, Duke Kaboom is a great addition on a side note. And these are, and Lynn, we're not spoiling anything as far as those characters go, because they are all in the trailers.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
I was trying to keep it as vague as I possibly could.
Oh no, you're doing fine, because
I haven't seen it yet, and I actually you can't go past a Facebook post without saying you're Keanu Reeves, Duke Kaboom, how he became.
Well, I feel like the Duke Kaboom character is that random, like, he's supposed to be influential and beneficial to the story, but he's comic relief in the end.
The way I was looking at it, it almost sounded like they put him in there almost like Batman was in Lego Movie.
Kinda.
He seems badass, but he does absolutely nothing other than silly one-liners.
I mean, that's kind of accurate, yeah. Lynn?
Yeah. Kind in a roundabout, like, offshoot kind of way. Yeah, he is. He's the Canadian Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll give it to you. But yeah. So, okay. But like what I was talking about last night, the CG rendering and everything has come so far in this movie that when they're in the antique store, you can see dust particles through the light. Like the light coming into the store, you can see dust particles moving.
You
And
described that
there's
ray tracing element.
yeah, the ray tracing has just come so far that there's one part where Woody's talking to Bo Peep and he's got a dust bunny on his elbow, and you can see like every little aspect of that dust bunny as it goes around his arm, and like it leaves a track around his arm, and you can see it like where it's left dust on his arm. And it's the fibers within the cloth of his of his arm.
Wait, Bo
And
Peep's
that's another
Bo Peep?
thing.
She's in the trailers, Nick. That's not a spoiler.
Yeah, nice try. I see what you did there. You're
All-
Messing with you, bud.
not gonna get me.
Also, Litton, is it fair to say that Toy Story always kind of veered? I mean, I know it's always been focused on the toys, but I feel like because of the CG quality, they felt that they were a
Yeah.
little more comfortable showing off some of the humans, like Bonnie, like Bonnie's parents in this one. You see a lot more of them, and
For sure.
and with some flashbacks of Andy from Toy Story 1 is not the same Andy from 1995. Like the CG is dramatically different when they show him
And
in this.
especially Molly and the mom, you can really see it in the two of them.
Yeah.
Like, and then there's a callback within the movie that introduces Duck and Bunny, or Ducky and Bunny, and the callback has a certain tattoo on him that I don't think they would have been able to do in one or two. Just with the hair follicles and everything that are poking through the tattoo, it was definitely very well done and super detailed.
Yeah.
And then once you see the tattoo, you realize who the guy is. Kind of like in number 3, when the garbage truck comes up and you realize that it's Sid working as the garbage
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
Yeah. So and you know how they always how Pixar always hides the old what is it? You remember their class number for when they
Are
were
you
in
talking about
college?
27 or whatever it is?
It's something like that.
Or A27. There's some hidden Easter egg number that's in every movie of Pixar. Yeah.
Yep. And it was in this movie a few times. There was once where it was on the side of a tire, and then once where it was on a license plate off in the distance. It was definitely there's probably a whole bunch more times where it was in the movie, just I didn't pick up on all of them.
Right. Yeah.
But okay. So like back to what I was saying. I'm gonna break down my score of the movie, I guess, a little bit better. I want to say, as far as video, like cinematics, sound quality, and soundtrack, I want to give it like a 9 or a 10, something way high up there, because it was above par for what I was expecting, and it was fantastic. And then story, I'm down probably like a 6.5, 7 as far as story goes. And then for the comedic horror aspects of the movie, I've got to give those like an 8 or a 9. Those definitely added to it, like made it better.
Right.
So like in total, 7.5 for the whole thing. If you're looking for something with cinematic quality that you would like to go appreciate, it's definitely worth it.
Kids will like it too.
Yeah, it's very aesthetically appealing. And then there's a ton of comedy in it. There's a ton of comedy in it.
Well, I think that wraps up our Toy Story review at this point. Um, did not to extend too far into this, but you joined us at the end of this, Nick. Did you have anything you wanted to review, or are you good on movies? I can't remember. I think you were ready to move on when you joined us.
On movies,
Because as of last night, you hadn't watched anything really that you were wanting
no,
to
I've,
talk
I've
about.
watched some TV shows, but
And old movies, yeah.
in movies that have now hit Netflix, like Spider-Man and Wreck-It Ralph.
Okay, let's just.
Which I gotta say, each one of those Stan Lee cameos got me a little bit.
Well, guys, that wraps up our movie matters for this week. Only thing left to do now is jump into TV talk. Welcome to TV talk, nerds. It's time to get down and dirty,
Ooh.
or just detailed, with our conversations regarding television and streaming services. Well, guys, I'm going to kick things off with just my current status on a Netflix series that I'm thoroughly enjoying. I did cover in our last episode with Matthew, so I won't retread too much here. Pardon the pun. Because we are retreading this whole episode. Anyway, so...
And re-recording.
So Netflix picked up the Fox originally aired series Lucifer, which is like a DC Comics property turned television. And just the quick sum of it, it's basically the fallen angel Lucifer, aka Satan, was ruling over hell, and one day he decided to take a vacation from hell. And so he's hanging out in LA, runs a nightclub with his best bud demon, Maze, aka Mazikeen. He's got an angelic brother, Amenadil, who's been sent down by the Almighty Father, telling Lucifer that he needs to go back to hell and fulfill his duties. You don't belong here on the world, on the surface world or whatever. It's a procedural, like I talked about last week. He befriends a detective, Chloe Decker, who he can't affect because Lucifer's primary abilities are, aside from being like angelically strong and immortal, he has the ability to influence people in a way that where he can kind of pull the truth out of people just by asking them what their deepest desire is or their darkest desire. He also can get into bed with women very easily, but Chloe Decker is unaffected by his charisma, and this fascinates him, and this is what kicks off the series into a procedural / overarching storyline where we kind of humanize the devil a little bit, and he befriends the detective because he's fascinated about the fact that he cannot win her over through pure charisma. And so show's been fascinating. I reviewed season 1. I'm already neck deep into season 3. And the season 2 was incredible and fun as well as season 1. And with Fox, it's weird because, as I said before, Fox kicked it off with 13 episodes in season 1. Then they ordered a larger season 2 at 18 episodes, and then a larger season 3 at 26 flipping episodes. I was a little thrown. I was a little thrown off by that. It's like either they were planning on ending it there, or they thought they had so much ammunition and ratings that, let's do 26 episodes, which I made a comment before that we haven't seen that since the days of Star Trek: The Next Generation. As far as running a show on prime television running 26 flipping episodes is just very uncommon now. Fox was going to cancel it. Netflix picked it up, or Fox did. I'm not sure what happened first, but Netflix picked it up, ordered a 10-episode season 4, and they just announced a month ago or so that they're going to conclude the series with another 10 episode season 5. So I'm very excited to see what Netflix does with the show. I'm only partway through season 3 and I'm loving it still. I'm still very fascinated by what they're going to do with it, where they're going to take the characters. I've rambled enough. Nick, give me a couple of your perspectives on where you're at with it right now.
Well, like I said, I'm into season 2, not as far as you, but I'm really happy with it. It's a nice turn of roles with a procedural like that they actually give the characters some development, and every character has developed in some way. Some for good, some for not so much. Um, but it's all character growth and an overall arcing story arc. Sorry, my allergies. Um, but there were certain characters I hated when the series started. They just felt boring and like not needed. But where I'm at now, one of those characters, especially Amenadel, is like one of my favorite characters now.
Yeah, the show had a very different feel at the beginning, and I don't think it's forced at all. I think it's a really cool and good evolution.
Yeah,
They've taken every character kind of, they've maintained the spirit of where they started, but they're dramatically different characters up to this point.
yeah. Um, and it's just it's nice to see the growth on there, and they're not just focusing on the idea that it's Lucifer, that there's actually other characters involved.
Yeah,
Even his assistant plays big parts here and there.
yeah. Like yeah, they've even kind of humanized a pure demon in this,
Hmm.
aside from Satan. But just like, yeah, they've done a lot of interesting things. Um, without going deep into it, me and Nick may come back at the once we finish up the final season, and we'll do a little short dive on this. Um, are
It took me a while to realize who the psychiatrist was, though. And then as soon as it clicked, I'm like, wait,
you talking
that's
about actors
the
wise?
actress. Yeah, she's Darlene from Angel. She was the mother of Angel's son.
Oh, dude. Okay, I forgive me. Like being pop culture gurus here, I should have some more context in that. I actually never got into Angel.
How dare ye?
I know. I mean, and even Buffy the Vampire, Buffy was a little. It was in the cusp of my age range, but I also didn't really dive into that either.
Yeah.
There's hey, Netflix and streaming services. I mean, I could always dive back in.
It's Joss Whedon.
I know, and he does some good stuff, good work. Um, anyway, guys, if you could give a brief rating on season 1 and 2, what would you give them? Like, how much did you
Season
enjoy them?
1 was a solid 7 for me. Season 2 jumped up to an 8.5, almost 9. I'll have to wait to see when I get to the end of it.
Right.
I haven't gone through all of season 2. I'm most of the way through it.
I'm gonna have to completely, for the first time ever, agree with your exact scores, Nicholas.
Oh,
Yeah, I know you weren't expecting that.
are you feeling all right?
Oh, yeah, no, I'm fine. I didn't say this last. I didn't ask you for a rating on our first time through this recording. No, but legitimately, like season 1 was good enough to keep me coming back,
Hmm.
but it wasn't revolutionary. It didn't like blow my mind.
Yeah. No, but
So
it was still
seven and a half
playful and
is,
fun.
mm-hmm, yeah, enough to be like, where is this going? They've taken some spiritual, religious ideas, and they've almost fictionalized them on the level of. I don't want to spoil much right now in this cast, but they've almost taken it to where we might see something with like Greek mythology or like with a Zeus type status. They've taken what a lot of people know as far as like, God and the devil and stuff. They've kind of taken kind of what's common knowledge of that, and they've manipulated it just enough to almost make it its own mythology a little bit with what they're doing with it.
Yeah, it's
I want to keep it vague because you know what I'm saying. The whole mom. I'm gonna leave this as a teaser for our listeners. The mom and dad idea.
yeah.
That's very. It kind of
It's
dips
very
into
close
other.
to the comic book though.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying I don't have any knowledge of the original comic book.
Okay.
I'm purely like, so me as a viewer, I'm looking at this show purely from the scope of, okay, I know about Christianity, I know about God and the devil, then it kind of turns that on a little bit of a curve and adds a little mythology to it that I didn't expect because I haven't read the comics at all, and I know it's based on comics. But I appreciate that you've got that background. And again, Nick, you and me, we'll jump back into this at the end of the series, and we'll kind of
sure.
discuss more about it and how Netflix decided to end it.
Yeah, I almost want to do a breakdown and comparison of the characters from comic book to.
Well, dude, that can be part of the the deep dive, and Lynn is this is our second run. Like, Lynn's not really focused on like bashing me over the head for saying that.
The deep dive.
The deep dive comment. But I told him last night, I said, bro, I promise. But I promise we'll do a Rick and Morty deep dive because he keeps bringing it up. However, he said, well, at this point, we might as well wait till season 4 drops in November. Because it is, guys. Season 4 is finally coming back this fall. And yes, Nick, or Lynn,
Finally.
and you guys, I know. So, that being said, I think you are right, Lynn. It's a perfect point to just start gathering up notes, prepping for a deep dive, and then before season 4 drops, give our deep dive spiel on the first 3 seasons, and then kind of keep up to date with the fandom as season 4 drops.
Speaking of deep dive, one of the few shows we did a very good deep dive on, and we made it episodic. We stayed with it when the episodes came out. We kind of like covered a few of them one week, a few of them the next week. Coming up in just a couple of weeks.
Lynn's got like a weird cough going on right now.
Yeah, you feeling all right? Just let it out. Sneeze.
Stranger Things.
Oh, yes. All right, there we go. That's a good, nice cough.
Yeah, if you remember when Stranger Things season 2 came out, we made a very big point of breaking down characters, breaking down episode by episode, and it was really kind of cool. We went through all the Easter eggs.
We even covered soundtrack. Breakdown for soundtrack.
It was
so
beautiful,
deep,
and I loved it. And I'm hoping we could do the same thing again for Stranger Things season 3.
I want to do that for season 3.
Because that one's close to our hearts when we do it.
I want to get Matt in on that if the bastard will get in on it with us, man. I'm sorry, Matthew, I love you. If you're listening right now. He missed out on the deep dive on season 2 for whatever reason.
Did he?
He did. He's not on it. I put him in the credits, but he wasn't in the conversation with us. It was us 3.
Oh.
It was just you, me, and Lynn. And Lynn did the soundtracks. We gave him... We asked him to cover something specific. He chose music. We did character breakdowns, and we did the whole spiel without Matt.
And then all the pop culture references, I kind of
you orchestrated pop culture references.
Nick had pop culture and Easter eggs.
Yep. I want to do that again, gentlemen, for season 3, definitely. And maybe we give Matt enough notice that he can be part of it this time around. And yeah, that's less than a week away, guys. So it might be a couple weeks before our listeners get the actual deep dive, because we're going to take a little time sifting through the show. But I'm excited for that one. That's one of the few shows where we as a group have tried to keep up with and had conversations about as it comes out. It's one of our favorites.
That is one of the many TV shows that ends up on my television that I don't have a problem with.
Oh, snap.
And I don't know.
Making it real.
End up there, and I can't turn them off because they're there.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. I know it.
And even though we all already covered it yeah, last night with our debacle of recording issues and snafus.
We don't need to include that disclaimer every time, Nick. We
Yeah.
can we can just jump into whatever you want to
No,
talk
we
about.
do. We do.
Okay, fair enough. I don't even understand
I still need to say something good about the show I've been watching. I started watching a really cool political mystery, kind of like a whodunit
Hey,
suspense thriller.
isn't this in the notes? What you're talking about right now?
Yeah,
Yeah. Go on with it then.
yeah,
Don't apologize for covering this. It's
yeah,
part of the show notes, man.
yeah. It's his first real big series since 24. This show stars
Oh,
Kiefer Sutherland.
hold on. What was that other show about supernatural connections? Do you remember Kiefer Sutherland was in another miniseries that ran for about 2 seasons or 3 before getting canceled? That was the one you mentioned last night. We can cut this little bit out here, but
I I didn't mention it.
you didn't. The one or something. It was like 6 or 8 people were connected across the globe. Kiefer Sutherland was a lead character, and there was a weird supernatural connection between all of them. Lynn kind of knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. You don't recall, Matt,
Oh,
Nick? All right. Maybe you didn't mention it last night. We don't have any evidence to dispute, so I'm gonna let you go back into it and just.
It's it's mere speculation, and you're leading the witness. You have no substantiating evidence. Back off.
Wow, Judge
Damn.
Lynn in the forefront.
Yeah, this show. Oh, yeah, this show that I'm talking about is called Designated Survivor. Um, Instead of him playing the person that's trying to stop everything going and happening and being the secret agent that is there to stop the world from falling apart, he is the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development for the President of the United States. And it's based off a protocol the government has called the Designated Survivor. The protocol states that whenever they do a State of the Union address where all of Congress, all of the cabinet, the president, everyone is at the State of the Union address, they randomly pick one of the cabinet members to be taken off to an undisclosed location, just in case the worst of the worst could happen, and so they have someone left over to run the country. Well, as you can tell, it's called Designated Survivor. He was designated and he survived. There was
to survive.
Yeah, there was an event that happens. I won't go into it, but he's the only one left out of all of the president's cabinet, and he wasn't elected to this position. He'd never run a political office before. He doesn't have any experience. He was given this position because he was friends with the president.
Special.
But now he's pushed into a position of running the free world. And along with this is it's not just the struggle of him going through this big change with his family and all him trying to find the courage to do this, because he's portrayed from the beginning as the shy, quiet dude that keeps to himself. But he has to find the gumption to make the hard decisions because of everything that just happened. It kept a lot of suspense, a lot of very whodunit type feel on the whole thing. And almost every episode at the end of it, you're like, no, stop there. What the hell happened? And it keeps pushing to the next one. Like I said, it kind of reminded me of the suspense at the end of the episodes, like with Prison Break.
Yes.
How it makes you want to watch the next one, how they have it leave right there on a cliffhanger kind of thing. Like someone says something and you're like, oh, shit. And I like when shows do that because it makes you want to watch it. The unfortunate thing about that is I've watched the whole series in a week.
It builds incredible investment.
Yeah.
And I made I said it was, I looked and just checked. It's about 3 seasons total
Yep.
on that. That's cool.
But
Real quick, on a side note, this is the show I was talking about.
Touch. He has an autistic son, right?
Yes. Yep.
I forgot about that.
It ran.
I was like, how so?
No, it ran almost 3 seasons. A widower struggling to raise his emotionally challenged son discovers that he can predict events before they happen. And it was 26 episodes long. It ended, it was 2012 to 2013. I guess it was only 2 seasons before getting canceled. Yeah. It was really interesting. I jumped into it when it first came out.
I'm going to have to try it. I do like a good Kiefer Sutherland show, especially after this one.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, if you guys haven't seen it, I would give it the nerds. I love it. A 10 out of 10. This is definitely one that I would recommend everyone to watch. It may not, because of the whole political feel of it, it may not sound like something that you'd be interested in. I hate politics and I hate political shows, but I loved this TV show.
Well,
it was very well done.
If it's a political thriller, it can still drive someone to enjoyment through the ride of the story.
Yep.
You know?
And you kind of see some of the back works of like Congress and what the president has to fight with different people. A lot of people think like the president just has this all encompassing power to just say this is what's going to happen. But it's the whole thing is almost like a big chess game to me when watching it. There's so many subtle things he has to do, but still keeps it intriguing. Yeah. And the other thing I liked about it, because of the big tragedy that happens at the beginning of the series, they're able to, in the show, they kind of harken back to that feeling that the nation had trying to rebuild after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a very good job of kind of recreating that through this tragedy in the show. And it's inspiring to see people coming together to work together.
Nice. I like that. That definitely, you've given me enough. I started watching the pilot, just got a little busy at home, but after hearing your review, dude, that's definitely stoked the fires of interest. I will probably go back and try to at least jump into the pilot completely.
Yeah. And another one we watched, it's not in my notes, but I'm going to say it. Me and my wife just finished watching The Masked Singer.
Is that reality, Nick?
It's a TV series, kind of like American Idol or The Voice or whatnot, but they have actors, different movie stars, actual people who sing for a living, random celebrities.
Are you
and
professionals?
They're masked.
A reality show to this Nerdentials conversation.
Yes, because it was funny. I'm sorry.
I have also watched the show.
All right, go on. Talk about it then. All right, get down with your bad selves.
Well, what made me want to watch it is a YouTube video came across my Facebook page where Ryan Reynolds was over in Korea where the show originally started, trying to do his try to get awareness ready for Deadpool to come out. And he went over there and participated in The Masked Singer. And he won that episode, singing Tomorrow.
Wasn't he also a unicorn?
Yeah, he was the unicorn.
Yeah, he was the unicorn.
I like the idea of it. The judges, no one knows who the actors are, and they get unmasked as they get voted off the show.
Is it called Unmasked?
It's called The Masked Singer.
Okay.
It's on Hulu.
Okay.
And it's different than normal reality TV just for the sheer fact that, yeah, you get to enjoy some music and fun and people's reactions, and you're kind of wondering, who the hell is it the entire time? And as each time they go on the stage, they give you different clues about who they are.
Are we doing spoilers, or are we
Well,
trying to keep
this is far
spoilers?
enough after the thing. I don't know if people want to care about spoilers or not. But
Fair enough.
Spoilers be damned. Go for it.
sure. Spoiler warning for any of you still behind on it and wanting to watch it. It was crazy. T-Pain.
Who were your favorite two?
My favorite two would be the bee and the monster.
The bee and the monster.
Oh, and no,
Mine.
I would throw the rabbit in there too. The rabbit was
No.
good.
Yeah. Mine was the lion and the rabbit.
Yeah.
Because the lion was, spoilers, Bruce Willis's daughter.
Yeah, I did not see that coming. Rumor Willis.
Right? And then frickin' the rabbit was what is his name? Joey Fatone. In sync.
Yeah. No, he in his second performance, he did a dance move. And I remember seeing it on Dancing in the Stars, and I'm like, that's Joey.
Yep, that's what gave it away.
Yeah. But yeah, sorry about the reality TV jumping into the nerds.
I was just kidding. It's all pop culture related. It's fine.
Yeah.
Why don't you?
The only reason why I brought it up is because I quite literally finished watching the last episode with my wife 10 minutes before we got on the show.
It makes sense. It's been added to the notes. It's all good. Nicholas, I kind of want to. Let's see.
Oh, the other topic conversation?
Well, no, we're just over an hour right now. I figured you could have the top bullet point there on your Netflix reviews. I see that you watched Jessica Jones season 3, and as I iterated on the night before, I'd like you to tell me, one, is it worth watching knowing it's canceled, and two, how did it make you feel going into it knowing it was canceled?
I know it was going to be canceled, and I fought wanting to watch it for a while, but I finally watched it, and I'm glad I did. It was probably one of the better seasons that they've done, which even pisses me more off that they canceled it, because the show was only getting better. Why would you end it when you're just getting rolling?
Right.
But we all know why that ended, and I don't like bashing Disney too much.
It is a circumstance of relational disconnects with Disney starting up its own streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
And Netflix gets contracts and they come and go.
Yeah.
And we all know that.
Even before that, there was issues. There's a reason why you didn't see the Punisher in the Defenders. Marvel seriously would not even allow it. It was actually in their stipulations that they couldn't have the Punisher with more than one of the superheroes. And they wouldn't allow it after the first season. The only ones they would allow to actually have any interaction were the side characters that interact with all of them. Like, crap. Of course, I'm gonna forget her name. The girl that works with Matt Murdock.
Paige.
And the nurse.
I don't know the nurse.
She's in all of them. She ends up dating Luke Cage later.
Oh, Ritter.
Yeah.
Kristen Ritter.
No. Not. I'm not talking about Jessica Jones.
Sorry, my bad.
But yeah, we know who we're talking about.
Yep.
But this season was nice for Jessica Jones for the sheer fact I wanted to watch it because I wanted to see if they went a direction with a character that they started to in season 2, but they finally went full circle on it in season 3, and you actually got to see the team up which was really cool.
Nice.
And anybody that reads comics will know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to actually go into it so I don't ruin it for anyone. I don't want to jinx it. But it was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
I because I knew it was canceled, it kind of put a damper on it for me. So it was good enough to give it a 7.
you still though. I guess my concluding question is: you still recommend fans of the first 2 seasons should give this a go?
Yeah, just like I'd recommend people that started Farscape knowing that it was going to end before they actually ever closed it to watch it. But I would definitely say finish it. It's definitely worth watching to get some closure on certain things and questions on others.
Interesting reference.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I hate when shows prematurely die when they shouldn't, and for the most stupidest reasons in the world.
Agreed.
Firefly.
Damn you, Fox.
Among the many.
All right, and I guess for our last show we should talk about on our episode is another short-lived show that should not have ended so early. So much so that this was probably one of this streaming service's best series so far. This show harkens back to me growing up because they had movies on this that I absolutely loved and adored. It had like a cult following to it. The original Alan Moore version of it was beautiful, and it was very poignant, and it was poetic. The way this character was portrayed was wonderful, and in this new one, this was a streaming service TV series that was so well done. This is better than some movies you see, blockbuster movies you see. And that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't go very far, because there's too much to produce at that quality. The show I'm talking about is DCU's Swamp Thing. One of the wonderful things about this is right off the heels of Aquaman. James Wan went into this as executive producer, which he kind of re-embraced his roots. Everyone that knows who James Wan is he's a very big horror director.
Mm-hmm.
And with Swamp Thing, you can take the horror route, because when you think about Swamp Thing, there's Swamp Thing, who looks like this big green monster that's going to kill you, but he's actually the good guy. But the same thing that causes him makes him fight other creature feature type creatures. And that's the whole premise behind Swamp Thing, and that's why I loved it. Because I come from growing up, most of the things I watched was like Godzilla and stuff like that. So this fit that genre for me. And they did it so well. I'm not saying it was better, but it was on par with the original for me. It had that same nostalgic feel. But like I'm going to reiterate, like I said yesterday, I watched the DC Titans. I wasn't really a fan to start with. Towards the end of it, it got better for me, and it's something I would still watch because I enjoyed it. The only thing that got in the way of it was my own stupid big dumb brain, because of how much I know the comics.
Your nerdism.
And then I like the side characters so much, and one of the groups of side characters they introduced in that one was the Doom Patrol, and they made a series on it. That show was amazing. I loved it. It pulled on the heartstrings. It was wonderful. So I was just like, you know what? They released the info that they're going to bring out Swamp Thing, and it's going to be a 13 episode season, and they're going to kind of go the horror route. I'm like, yes. Pardon my language. I know you have to bleep it, but it was like,
Nick.
yes. I was so excited. We lost our PG-13 rating right there.
No. One F-bomb is allowed in PG-13. Remember?
Great. We're still PG-13.
One tit
One and
shot
done.
and one F-bomb.
One and done.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you want to lift your shirt right now, Nick, we can get the other one out of the way. Ah!
He
Excellent.
stole my one nip shot. I can't do it now.
Now you can't. We're gonna go rated R.
There's enough hair you wouldn't see it though.
Fair enough.
No.
Continue.
No. But where was I? They did it really great. It was wonderful, and it makes me want to say shame on you, DC, for doing this. But I know it came down from above, and the directors had every intention of going along with it and making it go. It had, even after the first, the thing that kills me is they decided to announce that they were canceling the show after the first episode aired.
Now, regardless of reasoning, like, regardless of how logical the reasoning for needing to cancel it was, announcing the cancellation of a show after episode 1 is party foul numero uno, dude. It's one of those things where when you tell people something's canceled, you're even if your service is dying, you're still losing out on potentially half your audience, because half the people are going to hear that and be like, well, what's the point in me even starting the show?
Yeah, they effectively cock blocked their own show.
Yeah, and so to help segue onto my next couple points regarding this show, I would like you still, Nick, to tell me, knowing it's canceled, and that at the end of season 1's run, is this show still good enough to you that you would recommend to friends that they should check it out still?
This show is amazeballs. You'd be stupid not to watch it.
That makes me sad. Because it's canceled, it makes me sad. But that's great, dude, because like I probably still will fire up the pilot to this season, you know. And you had mentioned before
the quality of the Swamp Thing prosthetics is amazing.
Well, and a lot of the quality comes from a certain level of budget, and you had mentioned the night before that what you thought was one of the biggest reasons for its cancellation is the budget was too much to maintain a show of this caliber.
The production quality put the price of the show out of a low subscription service. Which
comes to my next point that I wanted to elaborate on a little further, is that one of the two things going on right now is one, Warner Media, which is something we haven't talked about yet on our show. We did the night before, but we're retreading. Warner Brothers Warner Brothers, the entity, who owns multiple divisions of film production studios and a couple divisions of television, including the CW, and outright pretty much kind of does have a say on things related to DC comics when it comes to the production within television and film. Warner Brothers is now announced a few months back that they are also working on their own streaming service called Warner Media. And it's my understanding currently that the rumors are that DC Universe, as its standalone streaming service, has a lot of amazing things to offer, but the fact of the matter is, no matter how you look at it, it is a niche streaming service. It is a genre-specific streaming service. To put it bluntly, it is a DC comic book fans streaming service. When we're talking about trying to reach larger audiences and audiences who are not familiar with some of these characters, this app doesn't provide a whole lot of alternatives to draw in secondary audiences that aren't aware of who these are. My case in point, like Netflix is a freaking monolith of a variety of content, and granted it's been out longer, but it also has so much variety that a nerd or anyone else in another obscure genre could be drawn to Netflix because of a lot of the things it offers, and even the broader audience as a whole. It's so commonplace. Netflix announced like last year they have over 100 million plus subscribers. That's a massive amount across any streaming service. I think currently Netflix is at the top for total number of subscribers. Period. And just this year, they announced they were going to spend another 15 billion in original content. That is throwing them into the negative as far as like, I mean, you got to spend money to make money in this industry, and Netflix has enough right now to survive, to go ahead and blow that much money because they know it's going to keep them sustainable. Now, backtracking to Warner Media and what like Disney Plus is doing, Disney Plus is pulling all their content off Netflix, which is why Netflix is jumping the gun on creating as much original stuff as they can, because Netflix's goal is to be 75% original content. And if you're sticking around for the original content, then Netflix has already accomplished its goal. It's like 3/4 of everything we offer is original. It's owned by us directly. We're making it. And if you're sticking around for it, then they pretty much don't have to worry right now. They're in a very safe zone. I got a couple more points, but you wanted to interject something?
Yeah, you were saying something about how it's a niche streaming service. And they actually proved their own point with how they distributed the international version of Titans. Everything DC Universe is internationally distributed through Netflix.
Yeah.
And upon the first day it was available for people to watch it on Netflix on that side, it was viewed like, I forget the numbers, but it was like 8 times over the amount that DC Comics was ever able to touch.
Right. Them putting their original content on a service like Netflix, you're just now saying something relative to like 8, double, quadruple the amount of viewership occurred because it was thrown onto Netflix overseas versus being thrown onto Netflix here. And that's because they've got the user base for it. And so again, going back to the fact that DC canceled it for 2 big reasons. One, it can't afford to maintain the show, and 2, it can't afford to maintain the show because it doesn't have a large enough subscriber base to justify giving it the budget that it had. Now, my speculative conclusion to this topic is to like what's going to happen with DC in light of seeing this cancellation is there's still Titans Season 2 is in the works. Doom Patrol, I think, has been confirmed for Season 2. We're still going to get the Harley Quinn animated rated R TV series, which should be interesting. Swamp Thing was supposed to be on that list. We were only getting the 1 season. And on a side note, they modified the 13-season run to build in an official conclusion with only 10 episodes. So they've shortened what we were going to get, but they have said it is going to have a conclusion. So I guess that only amplifies or improves your recommendation, Nick, on saying it's so good you should still check it out, because at least this way you can now say, well, it sucks they're not going to go beyond 1 season, but they are giving it a proper conclusion. So you can justifiably invest in it knowing it's only it should have been called a miniseries. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's only going to go 10 episodes and then it's done. A one and done show. Now, I'm speculating Warner Media being trying to jump into the race, streaming race. I would surmise that they will potentially absorb DC Universe as a subcategory within its streaming service. I made the comparison last night that Disney Plus has Disney content, Marvel, Pixar, Star Wars and their acquired National Geographic content to broaden and give it as much variety as possible. But we saw the interface when they announced it, and on the interface of the streaming service, you could see these boxed categories that you could click on. So it's my guess that you'll be able to click on Marvel, and it'll bring up lists of all the Marvel exclusive content. So my guess is Warner Media would do right by absorbing DC since it's suffering on the subscriber base to make it a subcategory where you click on it and you can see all that original shit from DC Universe.
I wonder if they'll treat it like kind of like how Hulu does. If you look at Hulu, you can get your Hulu package, and let's say you want HBO, so you pay extra for that. If you want Cinemax, you pay extra for that.
Oh,
Stars.
I mentioned this also earlier, off air. They are claiming they're going to include HBO with whatever Warner Media encompasses. So that brings an interesting little factor in. Okay, well, if Warner Media has the CW shows, all of Warner Brothers films, the DC Universe content, and HBO, all for $20 a month or less, what is that going to do for HBO Go or HBO Now subscribers? Because as a standalone service, HBO charges $15 a month for HBO Go. And you can do that from your mobile phone. You don't have to have a cable network associated. $15 a month straight to HBO. I want your content. Thank you, HBO. Now, if they include it, it's like, are they going to grandfather in current HBO Go users? Hey, for $5 more, you can have the Warner's Media service all included. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see when that launches. You know,
Throne, give me throne.
It's all speculation
Thrones.
as far as these next couple services. Thank you for that one little pipe in there, Lynn. But anyway, I don't know, Nick. Any other? I know it's getting late. We're about to wrap up here. Is there any other speculative thoughts on streaming services going forward, or the DC Universe series in general? Any speculative thoughts?
No, but me and Lynn had some funny information to do with some streaming services.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you hear Netflix was going to cancel Good Omens?
Oh, yeah.
Man, I heard that too. That's so weird. You know why that's so weird, Nick?
Why is it so weird, Joe?
It's so weird because Good Omens is produced by Amazon Prime.
Yeah, there's a group going out getting
petitions
to try to get Netflix to shut down Good Omens, even though wasn't it a miniseries that was only going to run that one run?
Yeah. It's
regardless,
running this solo season.
Yeah, and it's they petitioned the wrong streaming service, but that's all right. Both Netflix and Amazon Prime have an amazing sense of humor about it, and they've been trolling back and forth to mess with the people that are doing this. So Netflix tweeted Amazon Prime that they were going to shut down their that they were going to stop producing the Good Omens show, and Amazon Prime tweeted back, they're like, you know what? Yep. And what we're going to do is we're going to stop producing Stranger Things.
They said, "What is it? It's all right that you cancel Good Omens. We'll cancel Stranger Things. No worries."
It's so ridiculous.
Well, since we did open the can about Good Omens, Lynn, how was it? Thoughts?
I definitely enjoyed it. I mean, like any book adaptation of a show, there's some things that are hit or miss, but overall, I definitely enjoyed it. So, and it's David Tennant. Come on, how can you go wrong?
It's very hard to go wrong with David Tennant. Everything he's touched has been pretty good, actually.
It's super hard to go against Dave Tennant.
We're making things hard.
Anyway, guys, it's time to wrap this little gem up.
Yeah, you got to work in the morning, but no, we will. Last thing I got to say about the whole streaming service thing and DC shutting down Swamp Thing and all that. If you remember back in the time when we found out Disney was going to start their streaming service, if I remember correctly, wasn't I the only one in the group that was kind of worried that this would set a precedence and everyone else would start doing it?
I don't think you were the only one, but I was
very vocal.
You made it a very big point to talk about it.
And it's kind of going that route, and I'm kind of getting more worried about it. That to watch all our favorite series and shows and everything, we're going to have 5 different streaming services.
It's true. It's going to cost the same or more now to cut the cord, as it were, instead of paying for a really overpriced package of cable or dish. Oh, yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of... We complained about how expensive it was. So, we're like, all right, we're going to create niche streaming services. You can pick and choose. But now there's so much original, incredible content being made. It's making guys like us who want to report on these things and review these shows need to have like 5 to 10 services.
But I do have to say one thing that this did do, though. I have noticed that since Disney announced that they're going to do their own one and Disney started pulling everything off Marvel, Netflix has stepped up their game on their original content.
Well,
if you remember last year when we did the year in review, we talked about movies and shows and everything that we thought were great. Most of my tops were Netflix originals.
Yeah, dude. Netflix has it locked down when it comes to series, like TV series and things. I mean, for original content, they do good.
Like Altered Carbon and their Louvered Shades.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Great callback.
Yeah. Get that. Hey, you guys would get that joke if you actually went back or if you watched that episode of Nerdentials. You could totally hit that on our nerdentialsmedia.com.
Yeah, we've got no way of knowing what episode that is at this moment, but
shameless plug. Go back and watch them all just in case you missed it. You'll find it once you get to it. Hey-o.
Rewatch them all. Nick, are you good? You got anything else you want to finish up, or should we wrap this thing up?
I'm good. I just wanted to throw out my conspiracy theory there.
No, I appreciate a good conspiracy theory. One of the few things that excite us in this life.
I could dig it.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that being said, you can all check out more of our amazing conversations in the world of nerd by going to the one location that Lynn has already plugged. Nerdentialsmedia.com. Guys, that's where you'll find a plethora.
Or a cornucopia.
I like that one, Lynn. Or a cornucopia of video and audio content.
Not to be confused with the cloaca.
No, not to be confused at all. Because this is where pop culture thrives. Guys, we have content from reviews to nerdy conversations about film and TV. We've got gameplay videos and walkthroughs. We've got a list of things, a litany of things. You can just look up Nerdentials on YouTube. We are found across all the classic social medias, Facebook, Instagram, and that old Twitter. Tweet at us if you will.
He loves his tweets.
I do love my tweets.
And Lynn always volunteers to take the hate mail.
And all the hate mail
Yep.
can be directed to at
This guy.
Pay to Have Fun. Mr. Lynn
Yes.
at Pay to Have Fun, guys. Go send your hate mail there. Or if you want to send positive vibes and suggestions on future content, just email us directly. Nerdentials@gmail.com.
And I just got to say, we do this because we love it and we enjoy talking about all these nerdy things that we are passionate about. But in reality, we are doing this for you guys to watch it too. So please feel free to be part of it. Join us on our Discord, and or email us, tweet us. Let us know what you want us to cover. If there's something we haven't touched, tell us. We'll gladly do it. Because we're probably just as passionate about it as you.
We do love touching things, specifically topics of similar interest.
Whoa.
But that being said,
Giggity.
guys, for me, myself, Nick, and Lynn, this has been your Nerdy Essentials. And as always, nerds, we'll see you on the other side.
We are the Knights of Sydney. We require a shrubbery.
I don't just require a shrubbery, I require a massive book to thump my head against. Am I right?